So same as the first one. So x and y represent any point on the straight line. So we see the first one and the second one just written in different ways, right? Because because we see x is here, x raised by first power, y raised by first power. Same thing for the second form, x raised by first power, y raised by second power. So that makes them representing the same thing, but the numbers are different. A, B, C, and M, x1, y1 will be different numbers. But our focus is x and y. So we see, okay, those two, it's the same thing, but written in different ways. Like a same person, plays different roles. The third one is called slope-intercept form. This is probably we're very familiar with. High school teaches this form, slope-intercept form. But what's a slope? M is a slope. And the number before x is always a slope. I'll highlight x, comma, y also. So M is a number and B is a number. Or what's the intercept? That's a y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? Remember, y-intercept is a point, has x value and a y value. So the y-intercept is 0, comma, b. Right. Can we ever access previous homeworks to practice on it? Never practice the lessons from past homeworks. It seems that they disappear at a certain time. Kiana, so
Yeah.
this course has a coordinator, which happens to be the department chair. There are many sections of this course, probably like over 10 sections of this course. So he coordinates, which means, he sets up everything, and he doesn't like to change it because it's difficult, because there's, a couple hundred students taking this course. For this class, is 40 students already. That's probably like 600 students taking this course. So it'd be very difficult for him to change things. Things are setting up because he's very experienced. He has many years of experience on this. Personally, I'm not able to do anything because you see on the list, he listed us, instructors as tutors. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But what I could do is I could just, give this feedback to him. But he's the one who makes the decisions. Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So we see these are 3 different forms. They are just writing in different ways. They could represent the same thing because we see x, comma, y. All right, x, comma, y in it. And in each situation, we will encounter all those 3 situations, under different contexts. We prefer one over the other 2. Again, linear equation represents also linear functions. Its graph is a straight line. And also, last time we talked about, 2 points fix a line, or 2 points defines a line. And but usually when we draw the graph, we draw 3 points. The third point has a checkpoint. Right? If you give us x1, give us 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, which means those 2 points are given, which means x1, y1, x2, y2 are some numbers. And we can calculate the slope of the line passing those 2 points. Right? It would be changing in y, which is y2 minus y1, divided by changing in x, x2 minus x1. So we see this is the ratio of changing in y over changing in x. So that's exactly the meaning of slope. Slope measures the rate of change of y in terms of x. There's no problem, we can do y1 minus y2, but then we have to divide it by x1 minus x2. So once we have the slope, we use one of these points. We could use the first point, we could use the second point, but the result would be the same. We use slope point formula to write down the equation. And we could simplify to be slope-intercept form. Those three forms, we can always write one. We can always change one to be the second one to be the third one. We can always rewrite. We can rewrite the first one into the second one or the third one, or we could rewrite the second one into the first one, third one, so on and so forth, because they're representing the same thing. Okay, let's say some examples. Let's say this example. We want to find the equation of the line go through these 2 points. The first point is -2, 5. So x1 is -2, y1 is 5. And second point is 1, 3. That means x2 is 1, y2 is 3. So we just follow the formula. The formula says the slope of the line passing those 2 points, we're going to do y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Well, y2 is 3, y1 is 5, so 3 minus 5. Then x2 minus x1, x1 is 1, x2 is -2, 1 minus -2 minus negative means plus. So denominator will get 3, the numerator will have 3 minus 5, that's -2. So we have -2 over 3. Then we can use either point. We can use the first point or we can use the second point. Let's use the first point. We write down y minus y1, y minus 5 equals to the slope multiplied by x minus x1. We can simplify it. If we simplify it, we get a slope-intercept form. If we choose the second point, x2, y2, which is 1, 3, we see we get a y minus y2, right? Y minus 3 equals slope times x minus x2. We simplify it. We see exactly the same. We simplify to be the slope-intercept form. So those two, we see exactly the same, right? So which means it doesn't matter which point we choose to use in the slope point formula when we found the slope. Well, let's see this one. These 2 points, 1, 0, -2, -3. So m equals y2 minus y1, 1, -3 minus 0, which is -3. -2 minus 1, which is -3. -3 divides itself, which is 1. So the slope is 1. Then we can use the first point or the second point, doesn't matter. So y minus 0, we choose the first point to do it. Y minus 0 equals the slope is 1 times x minus s1, which is 1. We simplify a little, we get y equals to x minus 1. Slope-intercept form. Anyone has any questions? Let's see this one. We want to write this one into slope-intercept form. So what do? We start with a given equation. Well, this one is a slope point form, right? We see one point. The point is x1, y1. x1 is 4 over 3. y1 is 5. So we want to rewrite this. First, we want to move -5 to the right-hand side. When we move -5 to the right-hand side, it becomes plus. Right? You can always move terms from one side to the other side. The only thing changes is that sign. Right? Negative become positive, positive become negative. Then we just need to combine those two constants, right? -4 over 3 plus 5. So how do we combine those two? Well, 5 we can write as a 15 over 3. Now we have common denominators. So negative 4 over 3 plus 15 over 3. With common denominators, we can add or subtract the numerators. Right? We keep the same denominator. So negative 4 plus 15, that's 11. So get 11 over 3. Now the slope is obvious, negative 2 over 3. The y-intercept is 0, comma, 11 over 3. More example, let's see the next one. Right, 1 comma negative 4 and 2 comma negative 3. We'll calculate the slope. We have negative 3 minus negative 4 becomes negative 3 plus 4, which becomes 1. And the denominator is 2 minus 1, which is 1. 1 over 1, which is 1. Oh, if the campus Wi-Fi you have some problem, you can always, because the class is every class is recorded, you can always go back to watch the class recordings. Okay. Just make sure to let me know if you have any questions. Then we use point slope form. Right, just choose to work with any of these points, or choose to work with the first one. So y minus negative 4 equals the 1 times x minus 1. We simplify a little bit, y-intercept form is y equals x minus 5. Right? In this case, we see slope is 1, y-intercept is 0, comma, negative 5. Anyone has any questions? Okay, so this is to how to write the equation of the line when we are given 2 points. But sometimes we are given 1 point and we're given the slope. That means we don't have to calculate the slope. We have to find the slope and with a given point. Let's see. Well, let's see this example. This example is saying, okay, what is the slope? We recognize this is a point slope form. Well, the slope is just the number before x. Okay, we see it's negative 3. What is the point on this line? I think about it as x1, y1, right? What is x1, y1? x1, y1 is 1 and negative 2, right? Because we have x minus x1, so 1 is x1. And we have y minus y1, but this is plus, so the plus means minus negative. So y minus negative 2. So x1, y1 is 1 comma negative 2. So let's see this example. So we want to graph, right? Graph this equation. This is given equation. Given a couple of ways of graphing this. First, we can recognize a point, right? So this negative 4 will move to the left-hand side. It will become positive 4. Then we recognize this as a slope point form. And what is the point? The slope is 1/4. Slope is 1/4. What's the point? We see it's negative 2 and negative 4, right? Because x minus x1, so x1 is negative 2. Y minus y1, so y1 is negative 4. Our slope is 1/4. So we can graph this point first, right? Negative 2 and negative 4, which is in the third quadrant. And then we can the slope is positive 1/4, which means we can go up 1 unit, then go to the right 4 units to find another point. So negative 2 plus 4 hold on. Yeah, because rise over run, that slope means rise over run. Let me write it here. Rise is changing in y, run is changing in x. That's why when we go right 4 units, so the x value being added 4. When we go up 1 unit, the y value being added 1 to it. So we get a 2 comma negative 3. Now we get 2 points. Right? With the 2 points, we can graph. So we have this point. We read off from the equation. Now we have this point. When we use the slope and the starting point, we can graph. Then maybe we want to get one more point, okay, as a third point, as a checkpoint to graph it. Let's see this example. Y equals to negative 3 times x minus 4 plus 1. Well, again, we move past the 1 from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. It becomes y minus 1, negative 3 times x minus 4. Right? So this is easy to read off. Slope is negative 3. Negative 3 we can think as negative 3 divided by 1, or 3 divided by negative 1. Right? What does negative 3 divided by 1 mean? Negative 3 means we go down 3 units. 1 means we go to right 1 unit. What about 3 divided by negative 1? 3 means we go up 3 units. Then we go to the left 1 unit. Right? And the x1, y1, we read out from the equation, which is x minus 4, which is x minus x1, which is 4. Then 1 minus y1, 1 is 1. y1 is 1. Okay. So we'll graph this point. We'll graph x1, y1 on the Cartesian coordinates. Then from that point, the slope, we can pick any of this point, any of this. Right? We can pick this one, or we can pick this one. So let's say this is picking this one. Let's see, this is saying x value move to the left 1 unit, which means the x value minus 1. 3 means the y value plus 3. So we get the second point, 3 comma 4. Right? 3 comma 4. Or we could choose this slope to work with. See, we go down 3 units, and then we go right 1 unit. That means the x value plus 1 and y value minus 3. So we get a 5 and negative 2. So these 3 points should be on the same line. Right? Should be on the same line, because how many points on the line? On the infinite line. The infinite many points. Right? We just choose to work with these 3. With these 3, we can draw a graph of this equation. Anyone has any questions? All right, let's keep going. This is given slope as 2, given 1 point as 2, comma negative 3. So we can use the slope point formula form right away. So y minus y1, which is y minus negative 3, equal to 2 times x minus 2. We simplify a little bit, so we get a y plus 3 equal to 2 times x minus 2. Okay. So using slope-intercept form. So we want to write as slope-intercept form. So what do? We move positive 3 to the other side, becomes negative. So negative 4 minus 3 becomes negative 7. So y equals to 2x minus 7. Right? What did we get? 4. We'll distribute 2 with 2x minus 4. So this is slope-intercept formula. If anyone has any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. Let's see this one. Same thing, right? Slope is 1. The given point x1, y1 is negative 1, comma 3. We do the same thing. So we'll get y minus 3 equals 1 times x minus negative 1. Oh, that's y minus 3 equals x plus 1. Move negative 3 to the right-hand side, become positive. So y equals x plus 4. Well, let's see this example. Given point 0, 3, slope is -1. We do the same thing. Y minus y1, which is 3, equals slope, which is -1, multiplied by x minus x1. x1 is 0. So we've got y minus 3 equals -x. Well, add 3 on both sides, or move -3 to the right-hand side, become positive. So y equals -x plus 3, which is a standard intercept form. So in summary, in order to find the equation of line, we need either 2 points or we need a point and slope. Slopes give direction and point directions about the line. Let's see this one. You see this. When we talk about line, when we have 2 lines, we can talk about if they're parallel, if they intersect, or if they intersect with 90 degree, which we call perpendicular, right? So 2 lines on the Cartesian equation may be parallel like this, right? The first one with a positive slope, the second one with a negative slope. And we can use this advantage. If 2 lines are parallel, they have the same slope. If 2 lines are perpendicular, the product of their slope is -1. Let's see this example. So we want to find the equation of this line, of the line parallel to this one, and go through the point. So basically, again, we're given a point, and we're given a slope, but the slope is hiding in another equation, which is parallel to this one. So we know parallel lines have same slope. So we need to find the slope in this one, in this given line. Well, it's obvious, right? It's a number, slope is a number before x. So which is slope equals -2. Now with the slope, with this given point, again, we can use slope point form to write down the equation. So my y minus y1, which is 5, equals -2 times x minus x1, which is -2 times x minus 4. We can simplify a little bit to get a y-intercept form, which is y equals -2x. Well, -5 move to the right-hand side, become +5. The -2 times -4 is +8. So 8 plus 5, that's 13. Anyone has any questions?
No, thank you.
Oh, someone has a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Professor?
Yeah.
I was saying, no, thank you. We understand.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard someone saying, okay, no questions. Let's keep moving. So anytime if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. Let's see this example. So this given line is parallel to the line we're looking for, and the line we're looking for passing the point -2 and -4. So we're going to use the slope point formula for this. But where do we get the slope? We get it from its parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same slope, so m equals 3. Then we plug into the formula. We'll get y minus y1, which is y minus -4, which is y plus 4, equals 3 times x minus x1, which is x minus -2, becomes x plus 2. Then we can simplify a little bit to get a y-intercept form, right? So y equals to 3x plus 2. How did we get 2? Well, we have 3 times, we distribute the 3. 3 times 2, that's 6. Then we move this 4 to the other side, becomes negative. So we have 6 minus 4, which is 2. Okay, this is to find slope from its parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. Now next, parallel lines, by the way, they will never intersect, right? They will never intersect. because they're parallel. The next one, when two lines are intersect with a 90 degree, we call perpendicular. When two lines form, intersect, then the angles they make a 90 degree, then we call perpendicular lines. Look at those two. We see the blue color line and the orange color line, right? They intersect, and they intersect at 90 degree. That's called a perpendicular. So if two lines are perpendicular, their product equals to the product of their slopes equals to -1, which means if we call the slope of the first line m1, we call the slope of the second line m2. That means m1 times m2 equals to -1. In other words, m1 equals to -1 over m2, or m2 equals to -1 over m1. Right? And one like to see when the slope is the opposite inverse of the other one. So let's see these two. Well, 2 over 3, what is its opposite inverse? Yes, m means slope, exactly. And m1 means the slope for one of those lines. Right? m2 means the slope for the other line. So we use different, so that's why we call m1, m2. m1 is the slope of the first line. In this case, could be the slope of the orange color, right? Then m2 equals -1/3, would be the slope of the blue color. So let's think about if m1 equals 1, 1 times -1 will be -1. Okay, so if two lines are perpendicular, if one of them the slope is 1, then the other is -1. What about a half? Two lines perpendicular, if one is a half, then the other one has to be -2 over 1. -2 over 1. Well, what's -2 over 1? -2 over 1 is -2, right? Just -2. If it's 2, so if one slope is 2 over 3, then the other one is opposite signs, has to be negative. Then 3 over 2, flip over the numerator and denominator, -3 over 2. And if we do multiply those numbers, we get -1, so on and so forth. All right. Let's see some examples. So two lines are perpendicular, right? And the one we're looking for is perpendicular to this one. And we're given a point, which is the origin, right? It's perpendicular to this one, and it goes through the origin. So what is the slope of this one? Half, right? So let's call it m1. So m1 equals to half. Then how do we figure out m2? Remember m2 by definition is opposite inverse, right? Opposite inverse. Well, what's the inverse of half? Inverse of half is 2 over 1. It's opposite. M1 is positive, M2 has to be negative. So -2 over 1 simplified, it's just -2. Okay, -2 times -2 times half equals to -1. Then we use a given point, 0, 0, which is the origin. So y minus 0 equals -2 times x minus 0, which is just y equals -2x. You see, what's the y-intercept in here? Y-intercept is 0, 0, the origin. Right? We never have b. You see, b here is 0, right? 0, 0. Anyone has any questions? All right, we'll keep going. Find the equation of the perpendicular line to this, perpendicular to this, and go through this point. Well, this one, m equals a negative 1 over 5. Right? Why? Because it's opposite inverse of 5. Right? Because 5 opposite, positive opposite means negative. Inverse, well, multiplicative inverse or reciprocal, 5 over 1 is 1 over 5. So slope equals a negative 1 over 5. Then we plug in the point, right? Use the slope point formula. So y minus 7 equals a negative 1 over 5 times x minus 2. We can simplify a little bit and move negative 7 to the other side, become plus. Then we need to combine those two numbers. Right. 7 equals 35 over 7. Now we have a common denominator. We just add the two numerators. So 2 plus 35, that's 37. 37 over 5. So slope is negative 1 over 5. The y-intercept is 0, comma, 37 over 5.
Wait, how did you get 35 over 5? Like,
oh, you see, how do we combine those two numbers? We need a common denominator, right? So that means 7 we have to write as 35 divided by 5. Because 35 divided by 5 is 7.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's see this example. This example is saying an equation of the line perpendicular and parallel. So we need to find the two lines. One is perpendicular to this given one. One is perpendicular to this given one. Okay. And go through this point 1, 2. 1, 2. Well, let's find a parallel one. Parallel lines have the same slope. Well, what's the slope in here? 1, right? The number before x is 1. So slope is 1. Then we use this point. Well, y minus y1, y minus 2 equals the slope is 1 times x minus 1. X minus x1. Okay. So we simplify, we get a slope point formula. So y equals x plus 1. So the line parallel to this and passing this point is this. Now let's find a perpendicular one. Well, the slope of this one is 1. Well, perpendicular to it has to be negative 1 over 1. Well, which is negative 1 over 1, which is negative 1. So we also have to use this point, right? Y minus 2 equals negative 1 times x minus 1. Then we simplify. After we simplify, we get y equals negative x plus 3. You see this line and this line also perpendicular to each other, right? Because one slope is 1, one slope is negative 1. Negative 1 times 1, which is negative 1. Let's see this example. Find the equation of the line perpendicular and parallel to this one, y equals negative x plus 4. Go through point 2, 0, right? So let's find the parallel one first. Well, what is the slope? Slope is negative 1. Okay. So get a y minus 0 equals negative 1 times x minus 2. Well, simplify this, we get a y equals negative x plus 2. Or for the perpendicular one, this one slope is negative 1. Any line perpendicular to it is positive 1, because negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Then we plug in as before. We do y minus 0 equals 1 times x minus 2. Well, y minus 0 is just y. And then 1 times x minus 2 is just x minus 2. So we see this one. And this one also perpendicular to each other. Okay. So these two lines, the slope here is -1, slope here is 1. 1 times -1 is -1. That's it. That's today's material. So basically, if given us 2 points, we can write down the equation of the line by calculating its slope, then plug in slope point formula. Then maybe we try to simplify to be y slope form. Or we're given the slope, we're given 1 point, we don't have to calculate it for slope anymore. We can just go ahead, plug in slope point form. Or if we're given parallel lines or perpendicular lines, we can also find the slope through its parallel lines or perpendicular lines. Okay, Algebra, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name right. This is all in tonight's homework, right? It should be. It should be. Anyone has any questions? If not, we can go to my open math. I can share with you my open math. Anyone has any questions? Let me share with you my open math. Okay, all right, it's good. So I think everyone is good on this. That's great. All right, 1006. Yes, that's 1006. Let's see the calendar first. Oh, the calendar doesn't show. That's the wrong one. That's 2021. Let's see. So today, find the equation of a line homework. 16th, due on 16th. You have time to do your homework, but better today. You can start your homework right away. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. So I just finished talking about 3.3, and you have 2 days to finish it. 2 days to finish your homework, because this shows what's the due date. This is the due date, right? 16th is due date, I guess. Let's see. 3.3. Oh. Solving equations. Three point two, 3.3. Yeah, due in 2 days. Okay, so you can like go ahead, start to do your homework. And I'm going to check this. I think many students not belong to our class, but it showed up on my gradebook. Gradebook, I have more than 40 students. Let me see. So there are 37 of you. Let me take a picture of 37 of you so I know who is in this class. Also, I'm going to check on the CUNY website to see. I think there's some problem with the grade book. Some students don't belong to this class, but it showed up on the roster. Okay, material-wise, that's all we have to talk about for today. And if you don't have any questions, you can just lock yourself out. Go ahead to do it, to study your homework. All right. And if you do have questions, then I'm happy to talk to you about it. And also at the same time, I'm going to check. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm going to check who doesn't belong to this class. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Have a good night. Have a good day. It's very interesting. Some people just don't belong to this class, but their names show up on the green roster. Oh, and also some of you registered twice. Okay, have a good have a good day. Have a good day. If you see yourself twice, just delete one. All right. So I'm going to stop recording and